This is Broadcast Obituaries, Gone Too Soon. We exhume a short-lived TV series, episode by episode, give it a proper eulogy, and answer the burning question, was it canceled too soon or not soon enough? Analysis, nostalgia, and our final verdict on TV's fallen heroes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Rob, and this is Broadcast Obituaries. Today we'll be your guide through the cemetery of deceased TV shows. Our first stop today is Earth 2. May it rest in peace.
May it rest in peace. It's a shame.
It may. It has.
Yep. So, Rob, I've been watching a lot of movies, and
Cool.
Well, first, let me run down the movies. Let's see what you think about any of these movies, or if you've heard of them or seen them.
Okay.
We watched two that were more recent. We watched Heretic with Hugh Grant.
Okay. Heard of
which
it.
is an A4 film. It was not what I was expecting. Typically, I stay away from religious films in general. This one was surprisingly good, and Hugh Grant played a really, really good, creepy guy. So I would recommend it. I'm not sure if you're into that kind of movie. I wouldn't say it's horror. It's definitely like a thriller.
We definitely do not watch a lot of horror movies.
Okay. Yeah.
By a lot, I mean, I think the last one I saw was I Know What You Did Last Summer in 1998.
Yeah,
The original.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like not even the remake.
That might be the original. That might be the last one I've seen.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you're not really missing much.
Not our jam. Not our jam.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a genre people either love or hate. There's not really any in between. You know, you don't put a horror movie on just for a movie night. Either you want to watch it or you're not going to. So we watched that. We watched one on Paramount Plus called Monsters Summer, which was kind of fun. It was set in the 90s. Had Mel Gibson was in it, played a retired detective, and this was from 2023, 24.
Okay.
Centered around some kids who, you know, some bizarre things are happening to the kids in Martha's Vineyard. That's where it takes place. And one kid who wants to be a journalist is trying to solve the mystery, and Mel Gibson gets pulled into it. It's pretty good. It's definitely, like, I would say horror, but it's very kid friendly. We watched it with the kids. They loved it. It wasn't that bad. So
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but again, you may
I'll
or
look
may
it
not
up.
watch that one. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And then we watched an 80s movie called The Gate, which I will say was absolutely terrible, but endearing because it was an 80s movie. So
Okay.
I love it. I watched that one with my daughter. Basically, a tree house falls in this kid's backyard, opens up what I assume is a gate to hell, and through happenstance, they complete the ritual to bring about the end of the world. They didn't even know they were doing it. Things just kind of happened, and all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, we must have followed this ritual," which was really weird that was the path that took. But it was pretty good, filled with like 80s practical effects. Most of them were really bad. The demons were like these tiny little rat-sized things, which were hilarious. And we laughed every time they came on screen.
I assume they weren't supposed to be hilarious.
Well, no, they're demons. They're supposed to be scary. But yeah, it was just very interesting. Yeah, but that was a fun one. So
nice.
Yeah. So we watched those. So what have you watched lately?
Let me think. We've been watching a TV show on Peacock called St. Dennis. It's a medical sitcom, basically, and it's pretty funny. Honestly, we really like it. But aside from that, we watched a movie over the weekend called Deep Cover on Prime.
I've never heard of either of those. I've not heard of the TV show you're watching or Deep Cover.
Well, the TV show you'd probably only see if you watch Peacock. I don't know that you spend much time on Peacock.
No, I don't.
Yeah. So we ran across on there. We're getting ready to watch The Paper, that new spinoff of The Office. And when turning it on, we saw St. Dennis and watched a couple previews and thought we'd give it a shot. We're 10 or 12 episodes in now, and honestly, we laugh heartily every episode.
Oh, that's good. Check it out.
Yeah. What was the other one I said? Deep Cover.
Cover.
Yeah, it's a Prime movie. I think it might actually just be like a Prime release. It came out earlier this year. It came out in May, but it was pretty good. Should we do a movie in a minute? You want me to tell you about it?
That's what I was going to say. I had to get put on the spot to do movie in a minute. And after I listened back to it, I did a terrible job. I didn't even tell anybody that Vincent Price was in this movie, which would have been the major selling point for most people, I'm sure.
That is massive. I mean, it's good to know about, I think it was Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo, but...
Right, Robert Picardo. I nailed that one, but...
Also this minor guy named Vincent...
Price.
Price? Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Price. Yeah. I would have been eager to know something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, it took us 2 days to watch this movie, so I don't know because it's hard
Why?
for us to sit down and watch a whole movie at once
Yeah,
anymore.
I hear you.
Because I fall asleep often. So
Same here. I get that.
I hopefully it doesn't take me 2 days to relate the story. But what's the
Okay,
deal? I got a
well,
minute, right? You got a timer
you
for
got a
me?
minute. I got a timer. Do you feel prepared? Do you need a second to collect your thoughts? Okay, shaking the nerves out is what we say. That's what you're doing there.
Yes.
Yep.
All right,
All right. All right, on your
I'm ready.
mark,
You tell me when.
get set, go.
Okay. Deep Cover is a Amazon Prime release, I believe, starring Bryce Dallas Howard and Orlando Bloom, and they are improv comedians in a group, and they're very bad at their job, right? Their gig, like they are awful at it. A cop hires them to go into a carryout basically and do a minor sting operation just to get them to sell them some illegal cigarettes. And they go in and it spirals into a whole thing where now they've talked to this guy and the guy thinks that they're buyers for drugs. So now they go deep and keep going deeper and deeper and the cop's like, yeah, you need to go. And they go deeper and deeper and deeper into this drug organization to where they'll accidentally kill somebody and all this. And it turns out the cop they're working for is actually a rogue cop trying to get in on the drugs and get their money for his own retirement, basically. So the whole thing spirals out of control until they finally resolve it all in the end, which is a very generic way of wrapping
That's
that up.
time.
But it's good.
That sounds good.
That's the whole premise right there. I have nothing else
That's
to
the whole
add.
premise.
It is
Yeah,
it is very funny. I laughed a lot. I enjoyed them. It's good. I recommend it. I
yeah.
recommend it.
I love the idea of two terrible improv comedians
There's
just
actually
using
three.
improv. Oh, there's three of them.
There's
Okay,
actually
see?
three. One of them, I don't know his name, but he was in Ted Lasso.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe he's Indian, but an Indian British. It's a British film, so he's a British Indian actor. He's very funny. His name's Nate on Ted Lasso. I like him on there a lot, but he's also very funny in this.
Yeah.
But yeah. The whole
I,
point of that, I guess, is to not ramble. So I'm not going to tell you like one of my favorite scenes in this movie, but I enjoy
no,
it. It's good.
it's
I highly
yeah,
recommend.
yeah. I was gonna say I think the idea of improv comedians using improv to get deeper and deeper into criminal organizations is probably a fantastic idea, and I need to watch this movie.
Well, like the whole improv thing is yes and, right? So they keep yes anding themselves deeper and deeper and deeper into trouble. It's pretty funny. It's one of my favorite Orlando Bloom performances. And I love Lord of the Rings. It doesn't get much
Yeah,
better to me than Lord of the Rings. This is one of my favorite performances of his, even over that.
yeah. Well, we might have to check it out.
Yeah,
You've sold me on it. Your movie in a minute sold me on it, even though I don't know who
thank
else
you.
is in it except for Bryce Dallas Howard, Orlando
Bryce Dallas Howard,
Bloom,
Orlando
and
Bloom,
some other
Sean
guy.
Bean. Sean Bean is the cop.
Okay.
And the always immaculate, I mean, he's fantastic. Patty Considine is one of the bad guys in the movie. So, man,
I don't even
check
know
it
who
out.
that is. Should I know who that is?
You should not. I'm sorry. You should not.
Okay.
But he is in
I
it.
was about to
He is
feel
in it.
way out of touch.
No, just so, I mean, I think you have to see British stuff, which I don't for sure. I had to look this up.
No,
But
my dad will know. My dad is a huge fan of British crime
yeah,
TV and just British television in general. So I
sure.
bet if I mention that name, he'd rattle off something
Yeah.
that he's seen or he's been in with him.
Well, he might like the movie too, because I think Bryce Dallas Howard is the only non-British person in the movie. So it's all the rest of it.
Yeah.
All the criminals, everybody is British, which I have a hard time with. I can't understand accents very well, even when they're British accents, which is the precursor to my own American English. I still have a very hard time understanding it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, honestly, sometimes we just watch everything with subtitles.
Yep. Been there.
And
Yeah.
I think we did with this, actually. I'm not sure, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I've been there.
it's good.
There's been a few movies where it's been laid on so thick I can't. But it's like the Sherlock Holmes movie, Robert Downey Jr. His fake British accent was so impossible to understand that
Sure.
we had to use subtitles.
Yeah. I think I remember when that came out. I think I remember Guy Ritchie actually saying that Robert Downey Jr. had one of the best British accents he'd ever heard. And Guy Ritchie is
Yeah.
British, and that includes other British people. Like he said it was amazing.
Yeah.
And
And that's why I couldn't understand it.
that's why I can't understand it. Yeah, right.
Yep.
It's like Snatch. Do you remember Snatch? The other Guy
Oh
Ritchie
yeah.
movie with Jason
Yeah.
Statham.
That was a really good movie.
Yeah, I really don't
Subtitles
remember
though.
it so well these days, but that was a subtitle movie for sure. It was,
Yeah.
Brad Pitt, you weren't supposed to be able to understand, but I couldn't even understand the regular British folk. And my ears are just awful at accents.
Yeah. Yep.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I hear you.
So we should probably talk about this episode, right? We're here to talk about Earth 2.
Yeah, Earth 2,
You
we're
know,
on
not all this fun
episode.
stuff, although I enjoy talking all this fun stuff.
Yeah, yeah, we could do a whole nother podcast just on old movies that we've
I know,
watched or new
right?
movies that we watched.
That'd be fun. We should do some specials where we do that sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. So episode 9, we're on episode 9. You
Yeah,
want to tell us
yeah.
about the episode?
Yep. So we're on episode 9. It's called Redemption, although sometimes it's also referred to as Sacrifice and Redemption. I don't know where it's
Oh, interesting.
referenced as that. That's what Wikipedia tells me, that it carries both names. So I'm not sure. Maybe one of the early DVD releases called it Sacrifice and Redemption. I think both of ours, I think we have the same
I
set and
think,
it says Redemption.
yeah, I think we that's probably the only DVD release. Was there another DVD box
There
set
were
for the
there
show?
were two. There
Oh,
were two.
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, but TV Guide calls it Redemption. YouTube calls it Redemption. Our DVD set calls it Redemption. We're calling it Redemption for our purposes here.
Yep.
So
Yep.
this aired originally on Sunday, January 22nd, 1995. This was 2 weeks after our last episode, episode 8. And the TV Guide description says, with narration by Devin, Alonzo seeks and returns Julia to the camp. Yale is then the first to be shot by a deadly assailant, identified later by Riley as a Zed. The group must now find him and stop the threat. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
sounds cool.
And
Sounds cool.
we'll get to see this, but we've got to plug it early. We're inspired by the amazing CG explosions in this episode.
I
And
had a feeling you might be bringing that up right there. Yeah,
yeah,
they are. It's stunning, like how much money they put into the pilot
yes,
and the good of special effects of the pilot. And then we get to this episode where I think we have roughly 3 explosions.
there's 3. Yep.
And I'm pretty sure I could do a better job
Yeah.
without the use of AI. I'm pretty sure I could do as good of a job as they've done, if not better. It is horrific.
Yeah. It's one of those things. My wife sat down and watched this with me last night, and typically she's very forgiving, even when something is bad. And she even looked at me and giggled every time there was an explosion. So that told me like this is poorly done. If my wife is not giving it a pass,
Yep.
then this is
Yep.
not
Pretty
good.
bad. Pretty
So
bad. Yep.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we've already prepped you. If you're going to go watch this episode,
yep. Be
they're
prepared.
funny. The explosions are funny. Be ready for them.
Yep, yep. So just to recap the last episode, Julia got busted being a spy, and the group voted her out. Right? It's like an episode of
She
Big
got voted
Brother.
off the island.
You're
Yep.
gone. Right?
Yep. Is that Big Brother or Survivor, or do they both do it?
I think they both get voted out. I don't watch reality
Okay.
TV, so as I said it, I was
Me
like, I don't even know
either.
if that's an accurate reference because I don't watch the show, but I feel like it fits. So
Same. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It works.
yeah. So the gang has moved on without Julia. It's been what, less than a day.
Mhm.
Alonzo is teary-eyed and upset. He's not really crying, but he is upset that they left her behind. And he decides, aside from what the group voted on, that he is going back to find Julia, and he finds her there in the bushes where they left her. Right? She's hiding. She looks a little scared, a little nervous, and they find her, or he finds her.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like at the end of the last episode, we were talking and we're like, so do you think she's going to call Riley, or do you think this or that? And literally 3 minutes later, if we're just watching straight through the episodes, she has been reunited with the group. She was not even gone
Yeah,
she was gone for one scene, literally
yeah,
2 scenes, one at the very end of the last
yeah,
episode and the very first one of this episode. She's gone for 2 scenes and
yeah.
then she is back. She's gone longer in the middle of episodes without seeing her. Then she was
Right.
gone, left behind by the group.
Yeah, yeah. They left her, and it was like that afternoon. Alonzo went back.
Yeah.
So
Right. It is.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's the same day.
yeah, yeah. Because he gets back to that camp by night and
Yeah.
finds her in the evening. So
Yep.
yeah,
It's wild.
but you need Julia. You need a doctor, especially for this episode. So you can't
Very true.
leave her behind.
Very true.
Yeah. So so they set up camp. Back at the camp, Danziger is going to go out and do some scouting. I don't really know what he's scouting for. He just takes the dune buggy and he goes out scouting and lets the rest of the group discuss taking Julia back in now that she's just
Yeah.
shown up at camp again.
Yeah, he says something like maybe he's like scouting away through the mountains or something, but I think he's like looking ahead since they're setting up camp to wait for Alonzo.
Okay.
I think
Forging
he's
a
going
path.
ahead to look for where they're gonna go, pretty much.
Okay.
It's not super clear. I'm not 100% on that, but that's the impression I got.
Okay, yeah. If he said that, I completely missed it. But yeah. So Julia's back. The one thing, Julia is instantly more open. That's the one thing I remember from this when they're discussing taking Julia back. She does hand over the communication device, that she
She
uses
puked it
with
back up.
Riley. She
Yep.
puked it back up. Yep, here you go. You
Yep.
don't want to know how I got that. So I thought that was good. Well, I see why it's redemption. One thing that Morgan says before we get too far that kind of tickled me was talking about bringing Julia back.
How about if she comes back, we tie her to a tether and we pull her behind the trans rover for a few days? That'll get her talking.
And it's not funny, it's torture, but
Right.
hearing Morgan say it got me.
Right. The way he says it is funny. It's also ironic considering he's the one who jettisoned him and his wife off of the crashing ship
Right.
in the pod, and yet now he's here wanting to judge her and hold her accountable. It's a little ironic, more than a little ironic.
Yeah.
Warning. I have a projectile approaching at 200 meters per second.
As they're standing around talking, though, Zero, who does get some pretty good use in this episode,
Yeah,
announces
finally.
he announces that a projectile is approaching, and he counts down as something's approaching, and everybody just goes into a complete panic, and then bam, Yale gets shot in the shoulder. He got nailed.
Yeah. Was not expecting that at all. I mean, aside from having read the description, just being lost in the episode, it was kind of shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. And it bothered me that it was Yale first. Out of all the people, I don't know why Yale. And I think I understand as we learn, obviously, why the Zeds attack.
We'll talk about it. We'll
Yeah,
talk about it when we
we'll
get there.
get
I
there.
have a theory.
But
I have a theory.
okay, I want to hear it. Yep.
Yeah.
But the bullet that hits Yale is a special kind of bullet. It's after it hit him, it's penetrating further and further into Yale as it goes.
It's called a
Julia,
worm bullet.
yeah, worm bullet. Something. Yeah, I didn't hear
Yeah.
that. Is that what they called it? A worm bullet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I missed that. Makes sense though. But Julia has to help get it out, right? So good thing they
Gotta
decided
trust
to
her.
save the doctor.
Right.
So from there, Devin wants Julia to tell them what's going on, but Julia doesn't know. She doesn't know who's shooting at anybody. She doesn't know what's going on. But Julia does agree to go back into VR and talk to Riley to see if she can get some information. And when she tells Riley that they took the bullet out almost an hour ago, Riley loses his mind. Right? He's like, "Oh, you got to go. You got to find that bullet. Get it away from camp. You got to run as fast as you can."
Go now. Go now.
And we get the first of the most amazing explosions we've ever seen. Julia grabs a bullet, she chucks it out, and it's the weirdest mix between, I think it starts almost like a typical explosion with fire, but then it kind of rounds out like there's something else to it. And
Yeah.
it's the worst CG I have ever seen in a TV show, I think, honestly, in my life. It was so
It's
bad.
awful. It
Yeah.
is awful. The thing that killed me about this, and also every one of these explosions, like it's a bullet. She can't be throwing it much further than like 10 yards. Like
It's a
it's
good point.
tiny. It doesn't have enough
Yeah.
weight to go very far. So 10, 15, 20 yards maybe at the most, this tiny little bullet. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like an inch and a half long. But the explosion looks like it's a quarter mile away.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
and each time, like if it was really that serious of an explosion, it would be happening like basically the equivalent of the other side of their camp.
Yeah, yeah, and when we get there, we'll talk about it. But the last explosion, that was the one that even I was like, how did that even? We'll talk about that one, but that was the one
Yeah.
that really got me. They've all
Yeah.
been bad, but it's really how they dispose
Right.
of the bullet. We're just gonna throw this thing, and it looks like you said, the largest explosion you've ever seen, but everybody's unscathed.
Right.
And
Completely fine.
it's just the scale of it is.
In this first one, Julia and Devin both get knocked down by it, but they're both fine.
Well, yeah, but I think it felt very acted to me, which is why I didn't even think about it. Was just pretend like you got hit with a shockwave.
Yeah.
So because it's not that serious for the rest of the explosions.
No,
It's not even a big
No.
deal.
it was rough. It was rough. Yeah. I don't even know what to say about those. One thing that I found interesting about this scene was that Devin was listening in on the conversation that Julia was having with Riley. And we see this again
Mhm.
multiple times throughout. But apparently, you remember,
Yep.
True was able to just join this call and they could see her
Yeah.
there. Apparently, other people can put on headsets and listen in without everyone online knowing about it, which again is just crazy. Like the lack of security around these top secret phone calls is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I went down when they started joining the calls. I went down the path last night of exactly does this all work? And I thought maybe it's a distance thing. Maybe if you're so far away from the other devices, you can't just dial in. But then that definitely doesn't make sense because Riley is very not close to, and he's talking to her no problem. So I can't figure out how you can just jump into these calls. I agree. The security around these things is terrible. I would never use one
No,
because I would I
Never.
don't know who's eavesdropping or paying attention to my conversations or whatever else I'm doing. in VR. So
Right. It's
yeah.
crazy.
I just spent the last 30 minutes chasing a slow-moving worm bullet around a man's shoulder.
So Julia goes back into VR with Riley, and Riley tells her that the sniper is a Zed. It's a genetic engineered mistake, he calls it, that was just dumped on Earth 2. And he explains to her that it's they're there, they take out people with weapons first, and then they go from the largest males to the smallest children. So, and that's where I wondered, why was Yale the first target?
Well, we will find out. Devin and Yale are going to talk about the Zeds, and Yale is going to say that the Zeds are an offshoot of the Yale program.
Right.
So my thinking is that the Zed recognizes another cyborg and realizes the potential danger that he is, possibly like he is the
As a
greatest
weapon.
danger. He is a danger as a weapon, even if he's not allowed to fire one. He hones in on him as a cyborg and is like, I got to get rid of this guy first.
Yep.
That's my thinking.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you're right. They don't
That
explain
comes up
it,
later.
and it's kind of
Yeah.
unclear.
And
Like
I feel like a Yale isn't.
Yale is very peaceful.
That's what I mean. And the type of cyborg he is he's not prone to violence. So why would he be seen that way? And as we learn later,
yeah.
the Zed is not stupid. The guy seems very intelligent. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later. But so Zero announces that another projectile is incoming. And at this point, they are huddled behind crates and boxes, all the people in the camp, and Alonzo's, sitting out there with a gun, kneeled down, surveying the land, being a protector. And Julia grabs a gun and runs out, and she wants to see if she can become the target. She doesn't want Alonzo to get hit, so she tries to do the take me instead bit.
Yep.
Bullet hits, does not work. Bullet hits Alonzo, and Julia takes out another bullet, and we see the second terrible explosion of the episode.
Yep. Which looks to be the exact same size as the first one. They probably just reused the same exact terrible CGI, except that she's thrown it off of a cliff. So it should be much further away, but it looks like we should stop harping on the bad CGI. It's terrible. It's awful.
Well,
it's not going to get any better this episode, so maybe we should just let it go. I don't know.
Okay, so we can stop harping on the CGI, but there's things about this that really started to bother me, that the bullet's not going to detonate for an hour. So you get shot, and we learn a little bit more about how the bullet's designed, why they call it a worm bullet, I guess, which I missed. But why would we even see that? Remove the bullet, chuck it over the cliff. You were there as soon as he got shot. Why are we even, we're just trying to get the impact of it, I guess.
Are we standing there for about 50 minutes watching over the cliff
Just
to make sure that it explodes?
There it goes. Boom.
Okay,
got
good.
It
worked,
yep.
right? It worked.
Exploded.
Good. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
There's definitely some silly things in this episode.
Yeah, things that just don't make sense, but they're trying to add some action.
You're nuts, you know that? What were you thinking out there?
What got me when Alonzo got shot is, how deadly are these Zeds if he can shoot from however far he is away and never get a headshot?
6 miles. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know how far it is, but
6
it's far.
miles. I don't know. It's far away. But he never gets a headshot. He's not going for kill shots. What's the point of he hit Yale on the shoulder, Alonzo in the thigh? They're not kill shots. What kind of sniper is he?
I definitely had the same thoughts. I was like, geez, you got this. He's a cyborg. He's a cyborg assassin running on this planet, and he hasn't killed one of his victims yet. This guy's awful. But the way he's programmed, which we will find out here very soon, he's doing this to interrogate. The bullets are basically a form of torture and you use it as a tool to get information out of these people. I don't know that he is trying to get information out of Yale and Alonzo.
Yeah.
So that theory definitely falls apart. But we see he's going to shoot. Spoiler: he's going to shoot John Danziger here in a few minutes. And he is interrogating Danziger. He definitely is. He's taking a blood sample. He's doing all this stuff. He definitely that's his mission. That's why he's there, is to interrogate people and learn what they have learned. But you're right, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be shooting and not killing the men with guns or the cyborg he might see as a threat. Those don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So
I fully understand your point. I definitely understand your point, but that is that's my take on it. That's why he's doing it. And maybe it's because if he shoots these people and he kills them, then the people there might take him and throw him outside of the tent or outside of the camp, get rid of the body. And then when it explodes, it won't take out any other people. So this way,
he can.
They're working on him. And if they don't know that it's an exploding bullet, then they will keep the bullet there in camp, they'll keep the wounded man in camp,
Kill a
whatever,
whole
and
bunch
then
more.
it'll explode and it'll kill extra people.
Yeah.
There's a couple different
It's a
theories.
possibility. Yeah.
None are
possibility.
perfect.
No.
Maybe it's just that he's a bad shot. Maybe his
Terrible.
eyes have gone bad after all this time on the planet, however long
I
he's
don't know.
been there.
When we see the guy, it's one of his eyes looks pretty messed up.
Right. So maybe he got kicked in the head by a Earth
The horse
2
that got
deer,
away.
or the horse that got
The horse
away.
that-
Yes, Pegasus.
That's it. Pegasus kicked him in the face.
Yep. Saved the day.
Yep. Yeah. Helped him out. So at this point, Yale's waking up, and he and Devin are talking, and he tells her that he's heard of the Zeds, and he calls them zero emotional defects, and they're offshoots, like you said, of the Yale programming, who are intended to be super soldiers.
You mean they're human?
They were at one point. Criminals not unlike myself. The program stripped them of all emotional capabilities. This time, tutors weren't enough. They wanted super soldiers. 14 officers died training 10 or 12 prototypes.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like anything that they try to do on these stations really work, because he does go on to explain that these super soldiers immediately started killing all of the military brass, so they were
Right.
completely uncontrollable,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty interesting.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a terrible idea.
What's the point? What's the point if it takes more people to train these guys than you're getting out of the finished product?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's
Just
really bad.
ridiculous. This is, yeah.
Yeah, and so at this point, we finally get to catch up with Danziger. Now, they in the camp have been trying to get a hold of Danziger, but he is not on comms, so they're all
Yeah.
immediately worried about him because he's scouting, not responding. Zed's trying to kill people. They don't know what's going on.
Bess is really mad a few times in this episode that he doesn't have his
Oh,
headgear on. Like she's
she's
like, what is he
livid.
doing out there? Like she is really ticked.
Yeah, she's livid about it.
I'm also glad they gave her something to do in this episode. Like they put her on communications. Like she's got a job that we were talking about last time, Morgan needing a job and like doing paperwork. Bess finally has a job and she is like the communications key point right there. I like it.
Yeah, I liked it, and I noticed that too because I remember thinking she hasn't scolded Morgan once for being a child in this episode. And I was like, I really appreciated that we didn't
Yep.
have to see that interaction, so it was really good.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. They're both in this episode, but they rarely interact with each other.
Right.
The husband
Yeah.
and wife here, Bess and Morgan.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, they're settling into their new marriage contract, so it's a little awkward, I'm sure.
Apparently.
There's some sort of genetic freak-like sniper out here, Danziger.
Yeah. I think I just found a shaving kit.
Danziger is still out scouting, and he does stumble across the Zed's trail. He finds like a fire near a creek bed, and he decides that he's going to finally check in with the Eden Project, and that's when everything comes to a head. Bess tells him about the sniper. Devin is in a complete panic, yelling at John to leave his weapon, leave the vehicle, get back to camp. You know, the Zed tracks machinery, the Zed tracks weapons. Walk, don't run, right? She's like, just
Yeah.
get back to it. Of course, John doesn't listen. We know he's not going to listen to Devin.
No.
It's just the relationship they have.
I mean, he's a
And-
mechanic. He's not going to go leaving his car behind.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. He's not leaving anything behind.
No.
So, and the best part is she says, "Don't run." He immediately turns and starts
He
running
like
down
says,
the riverbed.
he says, okay, don't run. And then runs.
And then
And
he
he's like,
books
you
it.
try not running.
Yeah, which I get, right? It's survival instincts.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, John does get shot, and the Zed
Damn.
shows up.
Yeah. What'd you think about this Zed? We got our first look at him. Do you have any thoughts? He remind you of anybody?
I feel like I should have. I feel like it reminded you of somebody. It reminded
Well,
me.
just his whole behavior through the rest of this episode. Whenever we see him, he'd have a couple thoughts.
Okay. My thoughts were very generic. He reminded me of every like evil generic cyborg bad guy we saw in late 80s movies and TV. So
Yeah.
nothing different, nothing unique. You know,
He's
I
got
don't
a
know, what were you
line that
thinking?
he says. Well, and it's not necessarily in the visual, but partly visual, partly the way he speaks. I definitely picked up some RoboCop, like just in his robotic mannerisms as he speaks. At one point, he tells Julia,
Advance and be killed.
and I was like, wow, that's RoboCop.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
I remember that. Yeah. I didn't connect it, and I'm a RoboCop fan. I'm gonna go back and watch those scenes again.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised you didn't say anything, but I mean, he doesn't
Yeah.
look like RoboCop completely.
He
There
doesn't.
is definitely some vibes, but RoboCop
Sure.
obviously most of his head is
Full
completely
full
covered.
armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this guy doesn't look like that. But honestly, just from the way he speaks, again, I picked up some Terminator vibes. Like
Yeah.
I
Well, and that's what I mean. Like
definitely
a
some Arnold.
generic. Yeah, it was like all the cyborg stuff that we saw in late
The
80s, early
The
90s.
Terminator is not a generic cyborg guy. He is the cyborg
He started.
guy.
He's what all generics are based off of.
I'll be back.
He is the origin of the generics.
Yeah. And,
He's name
yeah.
brand. He is the name brand
He's the Clorox of
cyborg robot.
Terminators.
Right. He's not a tissue. He is Puffs.
Oh wow. Okay. You're a Puffs household. It's good to know.
We are a Puffs household. But yeah, I definitely picked up some Terminator vibes off of him
Yeah.
as well. Like just
Now, yeah, here
he
again,
doesn't
I
have
see it now.
he doesn't have an Austrian accent, like Arnold. However, he does seem to have an accent, which I don't think he generally does. He's just trying to speak in a very robotic manner.
Yeah.
I did look the actor up. I'm not familiar with him or his work. He's actually been in many, many, many things that I've seen. He was huge in the our type of shows from the 90s, like Pretender. He was on Voyager. He was on Enterprise.
Yep.
He did a lot of this stuff. More recently, he
I-
was in Sons of Anarchy and
Okay.
a lot of popular stuff. I'm just not familiar with him. So
Yeah. I recognized him, but I couldn't tell you from what show.
Yeah.
So I'd seen him around, but yeah.
he
Yeah.
did the rounds in the 90s for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of them did, right?
All right.
So-
Sorry to
so John-
distract. I just
Oh, no,
had
it's
those
good.
thoughts
Yeah.
about him, about the
I'm
Zed.
gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and rewatch those scenes and just see how I feel about it now. So John gets shot, and the gang obviously knows, right, that happened.
Right. They were
and
on
they
the
know
call
that they are.
when it happened.
They were on the call. Yeah. And so now they know we've got an hour to find him. Where on earth could he be? So they immediately are looking at maps, trying to figure out how far they'd have to look, how much time did they need to look there. But the Zed is definitely interrogating John. He takes a blood sample, demands to know John's name so he can mark the sample with his name. He thinks that Danziger is one of the criminals, one of the group that was sent down with Gaul.
Or I think the impression I got was that this is just a penal colony. I feel like they've been sending criminals.
Okay, so there's more. Yeah.
probably more. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe the Zed's just been down there killing criminals when they pop up.
I think
That's messed
that's
up.
definitely the impression that we get, is that the
Yeah.
Zed is just and we learn a little about this, but he is there to basically kill the prisoners that he finds that are living on this planet, but interrogate them first to find out what they've learned about the planet and how they have survived. And then they're passing that information along to the council.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the Zed starts questioning Danziger some more, and Danziger reaches behind his back and he turns on his comm device. So now
Yeah.
everybody
Smart.
at camp can hear him. They can hear him
And I
talking.
think, can they track him too when his device is on? Are they able to see where he's located?
Yeah, I think somehow they're able to get a general location from his comm device being on.
Yeah.
So, which I wondered why they didn't do that when he first contacted them. That
Right.
should be their standard procedure, is to see where he's at. So, but maybe
Right.
they didn't think about it. They thought he was safe, so they didn't worry about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll give him benefit of the doubt. Yeah, so interrogation. So the group goes back to, they think Riley is still behind everything. And, Julia goes back into VR, and Julia gets a little tricksy here. And she tells Riley that, hey, great job, that Zed shot Yuli. And if you don't tell me what I need to know, he's going to die. And they decide that after they get all the information from Riley, that they want to capture this Zed and have it lead them to Riley. So they think, hey, we could take this guy and he's going to show us where Riley's at. So I like that they're going on the offensive, right? They're ready to
Yeah.
figure Riley out. And up to this point, Julia definitely seems like she is one of them now. She's doing a really good job at standing up to Riley and using that relationship to help them and not him. So Julia's talking to Devin, and we start to learn that Earth 2 is just one of 5 planets that were being tested for habitability, but that Earth 2 is the most promising, which is why they're spending so much time there. And Julia finally tells Devin why they want Yuli. So up to this point, I think it was kind of a mystery, but cat was out of the bag when Julia was talking to Riley, because she was, letting it spill out. So she hangs up that call and everybody looks at her like, what? What's going on with Yuli? So
why does he want Yuli so bad?
Yeah. So we move on, and the Zed is still questioning questioning Danziger. I love TV time because he has an hour till the bullet explodes. They went from a
Right.
full daytime scene to
Yep.
now it's nighttime. They say 39 minutes have passed, so it's getting close, right? So in that 39 minutes, it went to full dark, but they have staged a plan to save Danziger. The comm device sets off some kind of signal. They're tracking it. The Zed does. I thought this was interesting. The Zed does at one point perk up and say, "I'm sensing a magnetic field," and he reaches behind Danziger and crushes his comm device. So the Zed did know.
Shuts that down.
But they're
Weird that
going
it took so long.
Yeah, that's what got me. Because the minute Zero gets close when they're trying to catch him, he's like, "What?"
He's aware.
He perks up
Yeah.
like a dog,
Right.
like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But their plan is to send Zero in with a weapon, because he will be both a machine and a weapon at that point, and try to distract the Zed while they send in somebody else from the camp. I wish they had names. Do any of these other camp people have names?
Well, the one that they send in is Baines.
Okay, Baines.
We learned that in the episode with where they found the people that were sick with the disease.
You're right. Yeah.
We learned about
It's just
Baines
very
there.
forgettable because I haven't seen him since that episode, I don't think. So
I've seen him in the background. He has not had a line.
yeah. So they send Baines in with the sedative to try to sneak up on the Zed and knock him out. But it doesn't go well for them. So
No, I was very worried
almost
about
works.
Baines.
Yeah. The Zed senses him coming, takes Baines out, and Julia has to approach and take charge of the situation. What did you think about this scene?
I liked it a lot. Like, she came in and she just started bossing the Zed around, and she gives him her council ID, which he identifies as that she's a physician. And I'm glad we had someone to tell us again that she's a physician, because she hasn't told us much in this episode.
Code.
That's a physician code. Stand back, physician. Step forward and be killed. And like all this stuff. But I liked it. I really liked the way that she just comes in with authority and bosses him around. And then he kind of waffles. Like, at first he's like, "You're not supposed to be here. You better go. I'm going to kill you." And then he's like, "I'm just going to sedate my prisoner and take him with me." And then while he's doing that, she leans over and she hyposprays him on the back of the head, like in his soft spot or whatever. It's like a baby soft spot, his fontanelle on the top of his head.
Yeah. Riley tells him that their only weak spot is where the spinal cord meets the skull. Just that one patch. It's the only place you're going to be able to get him. And she goes for it, and she does get her wrist broken. The Zed reaches up, and you hear a little crunch, but she still manages to sedate him. So it's pretty impressive.
It's a good thing she took her bone healing vaccine before she came on this trip, right?
Yeah.
She should be fine by next episode.
Yeah, after she deals with the soft bones for a while. Like Gumby in the wrist there.
Right. Yes, but that's going to prove to be a problem, because in the next scene, they go find Danziger, and he's got a bullet in him
still
that they have to surgerize and get it out of there.
Yeah, he's still shot. And I almost forgot, the worm bullet, the Zed does explain to Danziger what the worm bullet is doing. He says it's traveling to your abdomen. Once it gets there, it will explode and detonate. And you'll just, you're done.
Yeah.
So they are now in a crunch time. TV time, we've probably had 2 or 3 hours pass. This is only 45 minutes, 50 minutes maybe. But Julie can't do the surgery, so she's walking Devin through it. And it was amazing to me. Devin, did you notice how far her hand inside Danziger was when she was digging for this bullet? In my notes, I literally put she was knuckles deep. I mean, she was like in there with a whole hand.
Yes, absolutely. It was kind of grotesque, but there was zero blood.
Yeah.
Also zero blood, which this is network TV. They're not going to show.
Oh, you can't do that. Yeah.
No.
But
still, they showed her knuckles deep in his abdomen.
Yeah.
But also, when you think about it, he got shot in the leg. This bullet has traveled all the way up his leg and into his abdomen. And, like the Zed tells him, if the bullet reaches, a crucial organ before it explodes, there'll be nothing I can do to save you. It's still going to tear up your organ, basically.
Yeah.
This thing had to have gone through intestines and who knows whatnot, because he's basically in his abdominal cavity.
Yeah, I had a lot of issues with the whole special bullets in this episode.
Could have severed a femoral artery or something going up through the leg like that. I feel like
and
this is
it's sketchy. They just didn't think it through. So
there was something that Riley did mention at one point. Like, Julia says, "You sure know all about this bullet that he's using." And Riley says, please, worm bullets are 20-year-old technology. But how does Julia know about it? Like she's aware of the type of bullet,
Yeah.
but she's been sleeping for 22 years. If these bullets are 20-year-old technology,
Well,
she really shouldn't know about them yet.
yeah, and if they're 22 light years away from Earth or however, or it takes 22 years to travel how far, how do they even have the worm bullets? None of it makes sense to me. The timelines in
Right.
this show are getting a little iffy.
Yeah.
So I don't
There's
think
a
they're thinking them
little,
through.
there's some problems if you overanalyze something, which obviously that is
Yeah.
why we are here, to
Yeah.
overanalyze everything we
Yeah.
possibly can.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
sorry. Proceed.
No, yeah. So they get the bullet out of Danziger, and we get the third and final crappy explosion of the episode. And this one really bothered me because they got that bullet out. Like they were like, we've got like 5 seconds left. They are in a panic. They get the bullet out, and she takes a moment to look at it. So now we're down
Yeah.
to like a second,
Right.
and then she chucks it. And once again, maybe they're all like professional baseball players. She threw that thing so far away, that explosion. I think it was the biggest one we've seen so far,
From her
and they were
knees.
fine. Oh
Like,
yeah, she wasn't even standing.
and
Yeah,
left-handed, I think. Like literally,
yeah.
they're all just like, throw it. If it was
Woo,
me throwing it, it wouldn't
there
go
it
10
goes.
feet in that
No,
position.
yeah, we'd all be dead.
Zero
No good.
wind up. She's just like,
Yeah.
perfectly
So
fine. No debris from any trees or anything getting blown their way.
nothing.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
know, Danziger survives, and he seems fairly unbothered that this bullet just traveled from his thigh up to his stomach. He's just
Right.
got a hand. He's just got a hand on his stomach where Devin was just knuckles deep in, and he seems okay with it.
He's okay.
He's fine. But they do get the Zed back to camp, sedated. They get him back to camp, and they don't even really have to interrogate this guy. He wakes up and he just
Yeah.
starts spilling the beans.
Every
And
bean. He spills every
every
last
bean,
one. Yes.
all of them. And
Yes.
Zed tells him that he is working for Riley. Even admits that, what does he say? He goes, I don't even want to be in person with the satellite brass.
The satellite brass.
And that's when they realize that Riley's not even on planet. So
Nope.
he's somewhere orbiting is what it comes down to. And the Zed's like, but you better download the files that I have real quick, because that cyanide capsule was released like as soon as you sedated me. And
Or as soon as he
so
knew
now,
he was a captive, I think. So he woke
right,
up.
yes. Yeah.
And he's
Sorry,
like, am I a prisoner? And she's like, well, yes, you're being restrained. And I'm assuming that's when he's like, okay, and release the capsule.
cyanide.
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
So that was pretty big tell right there that Riley's not even on the planet. But it also made me wonder, it made me wonder why there's so much trouble for him to find them on planet, unless there's orbits just not passing where they're at. Do they not have the technology to look down on the planet's surface? Again, I've just got a lot of questions that I'm never going to get answered.
If he's on some kind of station in space, you'd think he would have been able to tell like where their ship was over the planet and roughly have an idea of where they crashed on the planet, right? I mean,
yeah, that's what I mean. It just, yeah.
Even if his sensors aren't good enough to specifically pinpoint where they are right now,
Yeah.
you know, if he can't pinpoint human life way down the planet, I get it. He should at least have been able to tell where the ship was and where they were headed as they crash landed.
Right. Yeah. And if they're heading to New Pacifica, he should know where that's at. But so he knows where they're going. I don't know, but so to end the episode, they go back into VR. Julia goes back into VR with Riley one last time, and she basically lays down like, we know all this stuff now. We know you sent the Zeds. You know, we got you, sucker. And then Devin and John and Alonzo, they all pop in to show Riley that they ain't scared. They even tell him their full names. I don't know why, but they're there as a group. It reminded me of like a weird Power Rangers episode where they all show up together and they're like, we're the good guys. Yeah. So
power of friendship will defeat you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like they're the Care Bears all of a sudden.
Yes.
But yeah, so, and that's where the episode ends.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
So
yeah.
I don't know. What'd you think of this one?
They destroy the comm device too.
They do.
Throw it off.
She throws it off a cliff. It's very anticlimactic.
Which is more symbolic, right?
Right. Yeah.
What did I think? I liked this episode. I thought it was really good. You know, again, I'm astounded by the number of people that are on this planet. You know, this completely abandoned planet. We keep coming across more and more people.
Yeah.
And we're going to meet more in the next one. Regardless of that, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was cool. Again, if it were me, and it was not me, however, the show got canceled after one season, so maybe they should consider some alternative options. Personally, I would have left Julia for an episode or two. Like, just go away from her
Yeah.
and don't even show her, or show her, give her her own storyline all by herself, like a minor, like B story or
Yeah.
C story or something, and then reunite her for like an emotional reunion after a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Or, maybe you just don't show her at all. Like, she's gone, and 2 or 3 episodes later, you bring her back for the reunion.
Yeah.
Personally, that is the track I would have taken. We did not even really get much time to mourn the fact that she was with them or try to adapt. We didn't get to see them
None.
struggling without a doctor. She was gone for about 5 minutes of showtime, less than a day of their timeline. And it's not how I would have done it. But regardless, that has nothing to do with this specific episode, I guess. But this
Yeah.
episode, I thought was really good. I like the way they deal with Julia and how she's trying to redeem herself and she wants to be part of this group and she helps them. She turns her back on Riley. I like the whole Zed thing and the Terminator walking around this planet, randomly terminating criminals and whatnot. I mean, he's a cool character. It's a cool storyline. I like the way that they beat this unstoppable guy. And I
Yeah.
like that Zero got to do something in this episode several times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this was a win for me. I really liked this episode. It was cool.
Yeah, I liked it. I think my only complaint, I was hoping where we left in the last episode, I was hoping that we would see maybe Julia and Riley actually meet outside of VR. So Julia gets a hold of him, and then we get an episode or two where Julia's getting face-to-face time with Riley, and we get to learn more about the council and where they're at, and then watching the group deal without having a doctor, but then having Julia find her way back to them. And I would have loved to have seen them stretch that for a couple episodes with her just not being there.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was good. Either way.
the 90s were a different time. And if your name
Yeah.
is in the credits, you're going to be in every episode.
They're paying you. You got to be there.
Right. Now TV is definitely different. Now they could, we go back to Battlestar Galactica fairly often, but at one point, one of the very main characters on the show dies, and she is gone for several episodes before she returns magically. And it was, not like it was just assumed she was gone, and
Yeah.
but she was still a main character on the show. You could not get away with that in the olden days. I'll call the 90s.
Yeah.
Back in the ancient
Ye
days of our
olden
youth.
days.
Ye olden
Ye olden
90s.
days.
Back in the 1900s, you couldn't
Yep.
do that on TV if you were paying them and they were a main character. I remember Jason Alexander from Seinfeld got very upset.
George is getting upset!
There was like one episode of Seinfeld that he was left out of just because the storylines followed Jerry to Florida with his parents, and somehow the other characters were still in it, but not George. And Jason Alexander threatened to quit the show if they did that to him again.
Really?
And left him out of the show. Yeah, because it wasn't just about Jerry. It was the 4 of them. It had his name
Right.
on it. But it really was about all 4 characters. And that's the way it was back then. Like, it was taken as it was a slight if you were not included like that.
Sure.
So I guess we
Man,
should
that's
have
wild to me.
anticipated I know, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I'm sure he still got paid. I'm sure he's making
Right.
really good money at that point.
Right. Well, that was an
So-
early season, so they weren't making
Okay,
by
maybe
the
not.
end. They were making $1 million or more by the end of the series.
Yeah.
It was definitely not that, like, per episode, but it was definitely not
Yeah.
that back then. But
Yeah.
I'm sure he was still doing fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like an insult
Yeah.
to write him out just for one episode. So yeah. So long story short, they could not just leave Julie out. But
Yeah,
you're
they
right.
couldn't
They
leave her
definitely could have. They could have taken her storyline
Taken her
to
story somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I would like to see. And I think that's the biggest struggle I've had with the show so far is, and I'm sure they had budget constraints. Season 1, network didn't know what to do with it, but they just don't explore enough outside of the group. And at first I thought, well, it's going to be impossible to do it, but they've got so many openings to split away now, right? They could have sent Julia to talk to Riley, or they could have followed a Zed to Riley and shown us something else that was
Yeah.
taking place. And they don't take those opportunities. So
Yeah. I don't know. I still enjoyed it. It was a good episode, but
Yeah,
you're right. They
it was
need
good.
to. It would be
These are
nice if they branched
nitpicks.
out. We were upset early on because they focused so heavily on Gaul, and we were like, I really wish they were focusing on like
and here,
their people
yeah,
and the planet. Like they're on this new planet. We want to focus on this new planet, not just another human. And again, that's still kind of what we're coming back to. I want to see their
Yeah.
crew interacting with this alien planet. And technically, I would count the Zed. I think he's fine with there. But you're right. They still could
Yeah.
just be branching out and doing more. But you're right. Clearly,
Yeah.
they had budget constraints. We've seen the explosions. They're not
Yeah.
good.
I think it was like a
Seeing the way the
copy and
Zed was dressed, like this was the lowest budget
Yeah.
Terminator ripoff
Yeah.
cyborg in
He
the history of
probably
TV.
yeah, he probably provided his own wardrobe and just got it out of his trunk of his car or something. I mean, it was
Yes.
pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was rough. But at least he
Yeah.
had two full pant legs, unlike Alonzo. So
Notice I had this thought in that very last VR scene when they all jump on and are talking to Riley. He didn't have one of his old crutches that he had, but he had a crutch that he was leaning on because he got shot in the leg again. Can you imagine? I think it was the opposite leg too.
it might have been. I didn't even connect the two, but you're right.
But I really thought I saw him standing there with his crutch and his half pant leg, and I was like, well, now like he just got shot in the other pant leg. Maybe they can come up with a pair of pants for him by the next episode. Like half of one
They'll
leg
just
is
have a
gone, the
hole
other one
now.
has a big hole in it now, just in the
Yeah.
front, I guess, because it's not a through and through shot. It just went in and stayed in, but it's a big bloody hole. They got to come
Yep.
up with a new pair of pants for him. They gotta. We will see
Oh,
in episode
we'll see you next
10.
episode.
That's right.
Yeah. Episode 10, Mooncross, which aired Sunday, February 5th, 1995. So we're now at a 3-week break.
I think that's
Is that
2 weeks
right?
more.
Is it 2 weeks
after
again?
this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So this one with narration by Alonzo. He says the approaching winter prompts Yuli to reveal the location of Mary's garden, a vacated dome. Alonzo later meets Mary, a woman whose strange past is revealed when the moons cross in the sky. Wow.
Interesting. We haven't even mentioned it, but they definitely like there's 2 moons above this planet. I don't think we've
Mhm.
mentioned it once.
I don't think I've noticed it until this episode we just watched.
Okay.
Have they shown the 2 moons before?
I think it's in the credits, but we know how much you dislike the credits.
I don't watch the credits because it bothers me. But I thought it was just general space stuff. I didn't know it was the moons of Earth too. I can't tell what's going on. These credits are all over the place.
They really are. They are for sure. But it has appeared in a couple different episodes. Like just at night, sometimes the camera
Okay.
will pan to the sky, and there's
Yeah,
2 moons up there.
I forget those things. Those things don't
Yeah.
stick with me, I guess. So
And honestly, like the moons decide like the tides and all kinds of stuff on planets, and I'm very curious. That is the kind of stuff I want to know.
Yeah.
As a nerd, how do these 2 moons affect the tides on this planet? Now we haven't even seen a sea or an ocean or anything. We haven't really had an opportunity to see what it does with the tides, but I'm very curious, what that
Yeah.
what those gravity wells are doing to the tides down on G889 or Earth 2.
yeah, I'm with you.
So moon cross, and apparently the moons can cross. That'll be interesting. I don't know what that looks like, but
Yeah, well, we're
probably,
gonna find
probably
out.
doesn't look like anything spectacular. I'm guessing it's just 2 things
Well,
in the sky
if-
passing.
If they got the same budget they had for explosions, I'm not holding
Oof.
my breath. Probably
Me
just a couple
either.
of paper plates they painted to look like moons that they just tie to strings and pass them
Right?
across each other.
Can we keep that one from spinning? It's spinning. It looks
Yeah,
terrible.
how do we stop that?
Yeah. Right.
Put it on a
Yeah.
stick. We'll just have a big wooden stick in the scene. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So, hey, if you're listening out there and you want to give us some suggestions, I think we do have an email address. I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head, and we can cut this out if we need to. Aaron, do you remember what it is?
Broadcastobituaries@gmail.
Okay, so that's our email address, folks. If you want to reach out to us and let us know, like give us some suggestions for future shows that you want us to do, or if you think we're just doing a great job and want to tell us about it, shoot us an email. And maybe at some point in the future, we could read some listener emails. Might be a fun
Heck yeah.
thing to do, unless you're just like chewing us out and telling us,
No
what
way,
you
I'm
think
gonna read
and
those
you don't
too.
really like it.
Yeah, we gotta read them all.
I'm very sensitive. I don't know if I could do that.
No, we can read those and we'll make fun of those people. It'll be worth it.
That's true.
Send us
That's
everything.
true. Yeah, send it all to us. Well, hey, thanks for joining us today, everybody. Remember to please subscribe to this show, like it, rate it, review it, love it, squeeze it tight, hold it, all those things. Like just,
Like we're a bop
take
it.
care of us. Right, exactly. Bop it. And, it would really help us out, and it'll let us know that you really do care about us. So thanks for joining
Yeah.
today. I'm Rob.
And I'm Aaron. Thanks everyone. This has been Broadcast Obituaries.
See you next time.
Hasta la vista, baby.
So you got yourself a McDonald's Diet Coke there?
Yeah, just ran out to the
Yeah.
pharmacy before lunch, and oh, nice. You went to Wendy's.
Wendy's, yeah.
Smart. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, we had our e-learning day last week, and that's what we did. So
Can't
yeah.
beat it. Is that Wendy's cup from last week?
It is from last week, and that's the Diet Coke from last week. I just keep adding ice
Okay.
back to it. It's fine.
Perfect. It's gonna be clearer in another couple of weeks.
That's disgusting. broadcastobituaries@gmail.com.
Okay.
Question
That
mark?
sounds right. I couldn't remember if I put the
I think that's-
podcast or something like that in there.
Let me double check, and we can recut this if we need to. No, yeah.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Hey, while we're still here chatting, this was a cyborg heavy show.
Mhm.
Do you have you mentioned all the generic cyborg guys from the 80s or the non-generic ones. Do you have a favorite
Yeah,
killer
I mean,
cyborg type of movie or show or anything? Is there anything else that comes to mind?
yeah. Well, my favorite is RoboCop. I'm a huge RoboCop fan.
Yeah.
But when I was thinking generic, I was thinking, do you remember Jean-Claude Van Damme, Cyborg, the movie Cyborg?
Yeah, I forgot
That's-
about it till now, but yes.
Specifically, what the Zed reminded me of is something out of that movie, but
Okay.
less good. Not even as well done.
Yeah.
I'm a big Terminator fan, although I don't watch the newer movies because I can't remember which last one I watched, but I didn't care for it, and I was like, meh, I'm probably okay if I don't watch these anymore. But I love the originals, first part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
Love those. I don't know. I've got inklings of other 80s cyborgs movies that I used to watch when I was younger. One that's not related is Cherry 2000. Do you remember this one?
No.
Never heard of this one? It was
No.
I can't remember who's in it now. Basically, dude finds android lady and he's got to save her, right? And it's kind of set in a dystopian future. It's pretty good. It's not like a Skinamax because it's what it sounds like. Cherry 2000 sounds like it's gonna be like a
Yes.
Skinamax thing. You would see.
It
It's not
sounds
like
like
that at all.
a
I mean, there's some love
crappy
story.
B-level movie.
Yeah, it was definitely a B movie, but
Okay.
pretty entertaining. You should look it up, check it out. But yeah, it just gave me that 80s sci-fi vibe.
Nice.
So yeah,
I'm a big Terminator fan. We actually just watched Terminator 2 the other day.
nice.
And as a big Terminator fan, I can tell you that being a big fan doesn't necessarily mean that you watch the new movies. I've seen them, and I would be fine if I hadn't seen them. But I remember it's been years now since Salvation came out, Terminator Salvation, and I think we discussed it back then. And I don't think that you liked that one. I don't know. You can tell me your thoughts on it. I actually really like
Yeah.
Salvation. It doesn't really fit with the rest of the movies. It's got definitely has some
Yeah.
issues. I thought it was
that the
a
one-
fun
Is
action
that Christian
movie.
Bale?
Yeah,
Okay,
and Sam
that
Worthington.
I liked that one. I do think the
Okay.
roles were reversed. I
Yeah.
think Sam Worthington would have played a better John Connor because
Yeah.
Christian Bale came off very Terminator-y to me.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest complaint. But I did enjoy that. It was the one after it that I watched and I said I'm done. I can't remember which
Was
one
that
it was now.
Genesis? I think that might have been
Might have
Genesis after that.
Might have
I
been.
did not. I actually skipped that one. And then I saw the last one, Dark Fate. But again, it was Terminators 1, 2, and Dark Fate, whatever number that is. They all have the exact same story with
Yeah.
minor variations on them. And
Yeah.
that Dark Fate is exactly the same. I mean, it has the worst start to any of the movies and possibly to any movie in history when 2 minutes into the movie, a random Terminator comes to their timeline again and just kills John Connor, just blows him away, destroys him. Everything that we've watched in every
it.
previous movie is now
Meant
wiped
nothing.
out. It's all done. It all meant nothing.
They
And
succeed. They win.
they did. And now humanity has a new, different hope. And Sarah
Mm.
Connor is there to protect and help
Yeah.
the new one, along with an Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator that's
Yeah.
been living peacefully on Earth all this time. It's just goofy, and I can't.
Yeah.
Why would you kill John Connor like that? It really made
Yeah.
me angry, honestly.
He's
But
trying to keep the franchise fresh.
I guess
Yeah.
we're here to watch TV shows, right? That's what we're primarily talking about. Did you ever
Yeah.
watch the Sarah Connor Chronicles?
I love that. I was a big fan. We were upset
Okay.
when it was canceled. We didn't miss an episode. We tuned in every week.
Man,
I was a big Summer Glau fan, and I think she
Yeah.
was doing a fantastic job as a Terminator in that. We were big fans of that show. We were very sad when it was canceled. So
I only saw a handful of episodes, none sequentially. It was just random. I was not watching a lot of TV at that time in my life, but I was sad
Yeah.
when it got canceled nonetheless. I think it was that must have been right after Firefly, because Summer Glau kind of had like
Mhm.
her moment
She was hot right there. Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't. Maybe we should consider doing that
Oh,
for our
I'd watch
podcast.
that. Heck yeah.
It's
I'm
just
there
2
for it.
seasons, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think it's just 2 seasons.
Yeah.
We'll have to think about that. Maybe we can consider
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah. That was a
What
really
was it
good
called?
one.
Sarah Connor Chronicles? I'm looking it
Yep.
up.
Yep.
Chronicles. 2 seasons. Nice. We could watch that sometime. We'll consider that. I'm still looking at the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and Bear McCreary did the soundtrack for the show. He also did the soundtrack
I didn't
for
know that.
BSG.
Battlestar. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know he did that for Sarah Connor.
me either.
That's cool.
I'm very
Nice little
interested in this
connection.
show now.
Yeah.
31 episodes. 31 episodes. I mean, it would take us 31 weeks roughly to go through it.
Yep.
I would enjoy that.
Yeah. That'd be a
We
good
should
one.
consider it. Ooh,
It's on the list.
It was from 2000. It's from 2008. We were really focusing on 90s here, but
Okay.
I'm also okay expanding to the 2000s.
Yeah. After we finish Earth 2, we can have like a vote just between the two of us, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah. The 2 votes that
To
count.
see
Some
if we
offense.
do something from 2008 and not the 90s. But we did have some classic shows that were canceled pretty early from the 90s on our list that I think would be fantastic to tackle. We'll see.
We will. Cool.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.